Hey, it's me. So, welcome to the video. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, I would like to take you through the Vendread deck that I made in the space of 1 week on a brand new account. As you can see, it's day 7 on the account that you're looking at, and I'm just about done with the Vendread deck. Now, this isn't usually how I do these challenges. Normally, I show you the first day, and then we go through together and we build the deck as one, in one harmony, in unison, and you get to see all of the pulls. Why this one is different is because this was kind of an accident, and let me explain. So first things first, I want to take you into the shop and kind of show you in one long continuous unbroken shot the pulls that I've done. That way you can verify the free-to-playness of this free-to-play challenge. But basically, the long story short is we're in the middle of a half-price gem sale, and in my soulness, I decided that it might be a good idea to reset for a couple of different staples to see what kind of odds I get going into a couple of boxes. And so I was going after Sphere Karibo just on a random one-off account to see what I could do with it. Now, in the process of going after Sphere Karibo, I went about 10 pulls, 20 pulls into this box, and I ended up getting a copy of Sonic Bird. And then I remembered, I was planning on doing a Vendread challenge eventually, so I might as well reset and just see how it goes, play around with it, still go after Sphere a little bit, but you know, like just have some fun with it. I reset, and I kid you not, in the very first pull of the box, I got my second Sonic Bird, my first 10 pull, right? So I reset again, and as you can see, I had to dig significantly more in order to get the third copy. Now, the reason why I got the third copy, and the reason why this is somewhat of an accident, is because there were various deck lists that I had in mind when trying to build a Vendread deck, because like I said, this was kind of impromptu. So without actually checking my notes, I just remembered that at least one of the deck lists I had in mind had 3 copies, and I might as well get the third copy. Now I want to show you the purchase history so that, like I said, you can verify the free-to-playness of this challenge. Quite a few pulls have taken place on this account, and if you look at the dates, actually, I'm not logging in a consistent 7-day period. As you can see, I think I first logged into this account, I first created this account on the 1st of August, right about when the half-price gem sale started. But I've got a lot going on right now, so I wouldn't log into it consistently. Just when I had time, you know, have a little fun, dip, splash, do a little bit of the like duel quizzes, do some loner deck duels, all those kinds of things. So I didn't really grind this account the way I would when I was doing a challenge. And when you see the end result, in fact, let me just show you the end result. So I got Alexis to level 20. That's the level at which you get the Master of Right skill. And this is where you kind of see the issue I was talking about with not knowing what deck list to build off of, right? Because this is the ritual, this is a Vendread deck. This is what I built in the space of 1 week while barely even trying, if I'm completely honest with you. Now, this obviously wouldn't have been as easy without a half-price gem sale. I probably would have had to try a lot harder to make it work, but Vendreads are primarily located inside one mini box, and then the Sonic Bird is the part that really would have been tedious, and that was half off. Not to mention, I got what I consider to be a suitable extra deck, and let's address the elephant in the room. What deck list did I build off of? Well, for this particular challenge, I had a deck list in mind. Someone by the name of Batalo used Vendreads to hit King of Games. Now, their deck list included 1 copy of Sonic Bird, no copies of Treacherous Trap Hole, and then they included another copy of Vendread Revenant. And I thought, okay, that's interesting, but I don't necessarily know if I want to do this. They also changed a couple of their numbers around. You know, it ended up being a 20-card deck. I'm just kind of trying to give you the abbreviated version, basically. Oh yeah, and they didn't include this. They didn't include, they changed things around is my point, right? Then I came across another deck list that was made by Akilos. I don't know this player, but they go by the name of Akilos, and they placed first in an anytime season using Vendreads this year, right? They're the ones who included 3 copies of Sonic Bird. They didn't include this, and they included 2 copies of Treacherous Trap Hole, right? So I was like, okay, so if I'm going after a Vendread deck, I don't know which of these is really superior. Like, one would be easier, but one did better. So I kind of got parts and pieces of both, leaning more towards the side of Akilos' build. Then Mythyard got top 8. Mythyard got a top 8 in, if I'm not mistaken, it was a Meta Weekly event that took place recently, and he used Vendreads. And so he then included, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this ritual monster here, Djinn, right? So I got two copies of that with regular tickets, and then I kind of combined combined all three of their extra decks, because Mythyard used Alucard, Mythyard used Nightmare Shark, but then Battle-O used Photon Strike Bouncer. Meanwhile, Akilos used Abyss Dweller, and all three of them used Malevolent Sin. Now, they all also included Heradic Sun Dragon and M7, but like I said, this wasn't something that I was trying to grind out. I kind of created an amalgamation of all three that I felt I could be satisfied with, and that would have required an additional main box run, which, to be honest with you, I probably could have managed had I actually been trying to do a challenge run here. And the reason why I say that is because, well, if we go into the Loner Deck duels, not even counting character levels or world levels into it, I did quite a few Loner Deck duels over the space of the 7 days, but I've still got quite a few here left to be claimed. I didn't do a single level 3 duel quiz. I did about half of the level 2s, and I think there's still quite a few level 1s left. Oh no, okay, I finished up the level 1s. The level 1s are the easiest ones, they don't give you very much, so that's fair enough. But then if you come over here and look at my character levels, right, as far as character levels go, no one's really grinded up other than Alexis, Jaden a little bit, and Joey Wheeler. So I only sub-grinded up 3 characters, which, if you get one character to level 30, that's about 1,470 gems. Now, I only got one character to 30, and then the other 2 I did to 20, whereas previously I've gotten between 7 to 10 characters to that level in the space of a week, depending on events and resources on the account. So I don't think it would be necessarily a challenge to get those other cards. It's just not something I was trying to do, to be honest. Now, looking at all 3 of their deck lists side to side, I feel like there's parts and pieces of each one that I like. For instance, I prefer the way that Mythyard and Battle-O only use 2 Sonic Birds just for consistency, and 1 Vendread Revenant is enough for me. I only got the 1 copy because 2 of the deck lists only used 1, and there was only 1 of them that had actually used 3. That being said, I've never used Dijin before. Mythyard is an amazing player, so it must have some value, but I don't have enough experience to say that that's how I would pilot mine. And then I like the way that Akilos used, well, Treacherous Trap Hole, because it's Treacherous Trap Hole. And so I think this is what a deck list that combines the 3 would look like, including the extra deck, which, like I said, is an amalgamation. So this is what I would say is my Vendread deck that I would use on this account. That being said, I already have a Vendread deck on my actual account. That's what I say. This was completely incidental. I didn't expect it to be like this. I didn't expect it to go this way. So I kind of just wanted to take you guys through on a roadmap, and I guess also share some of the grind and explain to you how I go about these kinds of things. Because like I said, like you just saw, the duel quiz and the loader deck duels are a big part of it, but there's also character grinding. Now, there are various decks that I use for auto dueling, and when it comes to auto dueling, it really depends on what deck you're trying to build. So, something that's always core, whenever I'm doing a challenge like this, Dynatherium, I use my UR tickets, not dream tickets, mind you. When you start a new account, Konami gives you a bunch of tickets. Some of them are viable for Dynatherium, not all of them, but some of them. So I use those to get him first and foremost. You get 5 UR tickets when you start the account, ranked tickets, and so I use 3 on Assault Wyvern, and I use 2 on Strong Wind Dragon almost every time. Now, why I say it varies is because it depends on what deck you're trying to build. For instance, because I was going into the Photon of Galaxy box, I got Butterfly Yoke, and so I put that into the deck. And because I went into the Visions of Ice, I got Treacherous Trap Hole, and obviously I was going to put that in my auto dueling deck. I also tend to get Metamorph, and if I hadn't gotten Treacherous Trap Hole, I would have gotten Enemy Controller. When I do these challenges, every single gem has to go to the relevant deck. I do not spend a single gem on building. Some people swear by using decks like Amazons and everything to grind and all those kinds of things, and not to fault those methods, but auto dueling isn't a difficult thing to do. You don't need a crazy stacked up deck to auto duel, because until you get to very high levels of you know, your Duel Monsters world and everything, the AI doesn't have very good decks. You don't need to be crazy. Literally, you can just brute force your way over them with a couple of trap cards and spell cards here and there to just bridge the gap, and you will be fine. You will win the majority of your games. In fact, let's actually take a look at this. Is there a way for me to check to see how many games I won and lost on this account? Okay, so out of 465 duels played, 399 were won. 1, which is an 85% win-loss ratio. Now, some would argue that that 50% is inexcusable, but as far as the AI is actually concerned, that's factoring in the Vagabond and the fact that, yes, the experience is valuable, but at the same time, in my opinion anyway, the gems are more valuable than that 15% loss in experience. So because when it comes to a deck like Amazon's, you have to go into a box for it to get the rare card Amazon's Onslaught, because without it, the deck does not function as well and the AI doesn't pilot it as well. So because it's RNG, you don't know how many gems you're going to spend going after a card that doesn't further your overall build at all. So I would rather have an 85% win ratio over what might be like a 90% win ratio had I used a fully furnished deck. And this, bearing in mind, those numbers also take into account the duels that I did before I started doing pulls for Vendreads, which then gave me other cards like Treacherous Trap Hole that increased how much I was winning. So like just stick to spending gems on your actual build. Okay, beautiful. The day reset. So we're now on the 8th day on the account. I would say that the deck is done and dusted, to be completely honest with you. I don't really know what else there is to show you. So I've talked to you about how I went about building my auto duel deck. That's standard, that's as you do, as you go. The aim with the auto duel deck is you're trying to achieve one of the fastest OTKs possible, so cards like Dinotherium in line with Assault Wyvern, being able to attack and then special summon a bigger monster or a smaller monster, just a dragon type monster, really good. So depending on the boxes that you go into, you just build your auto duel deck around that. As for the overall deck list, I would say that this is a good solid build that am I ever going to use this? We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, but failing that, as always, please join us over on Twitch if you're interested in competing, winning this deck, because I tend to always give these away at some point. I'm currently on hiatus, but when I'm back, this will be added to the overall pool of decks that you can win over there, so feel free to join us. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed yourself, please do consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. I do these challenges quite frequently, and at the point at which you're seeing this video, actually, I think I'm back from my hiatus a week and a half after this is supposed to release, depending on how future me decides to plan things and move them around. You can't blame me for this. Blame Future Soul. That guy's an ass. That guy, I hate that guy. Anyway, thank you very much for watching and have an excellent day. Goodbye, friends.